الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فجعله غثاء نحوا سنريك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهل وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر النفعة ذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى نار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي صحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى صدق الله العظيم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أنا أقول هذا مقع دولة Somaliland iyo Somaliland Mission Office in Washington. dhammaantiin waxaan idinku mahadnaqaynaa sida sharafta leh ee aad uga soo qayb gasheen xafladeennan caawa aynu ku xusayno sanad guuradeennii 17aad ee May 18. aad iyo aad baad u mahadsantihiin. I also like to welcome our friends and distinguished guests who decided to celebrate 18 May with us. Our friends from Taiwan's mission, thank you very much. It's an honor for you, for us, to have you here. Our program this evening includes several speeches, followed by a documentary about the mission's milestones, and then you will celebrate with music until midnight. Dinner will be served at 8:30 during the speech. Therefore, we expect that you will give us your attention while eating.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. It is my pleasure to celebrate tonight with you. As a Somaliland national, I am, in fact, a graduate student at the University of Chicago as a Somaliland citizen. And in fact, I am the first Somalilander international student to attend the University of Chicago. So it's a huge privilege to be here tonight. I'm going to start with a number. It is true that 70% of Somaliland's population is considered youth. And Somaliland is only 32 years old. So what that means is almost the whole country was born right after 1991. And today, I'm speaking on behalf of that generation. And very soon, we're gonna have 100% Somalilanders, where everyone will be born after 1991. Why are these figures important? The reason why this figure is important is we're going to have a generation where the youth, the young adults, the senior citizens of the whole country, all they remember is Somaliland. The currency, the flag, the only memory, like the memory that I have, is that of Somaliland. So when I came to America for the first time, and I have to introduce myself, and of course everything I was saying was, I am from Somaliland, the country. And I realized this, not everybody knows that. And not everybody is aware of the reality that it is a country to us. And when I attended the first meeting where somebody suggested and said to me, to my face, but what about a unified Somalia? And what does that look like? I laughed. Because I said, even if that becomes a reality politically, you cannot erase a national identity. And I told them I would forever be a Somalilander, even if the boundaries change, it still doesn't matter, because you would have to go against decades of socialization and nationalism, and that is not possible. So what this means is, there's only one option, and that option is that Somaliland is a country now, and it will be a country forever, because
aad iyo aad baa u mahadsantihiin dhammaantiinba aynu inay adag tahay socodka aad soo socoteen ee meel kasta ka timaadeen ee shaqadiinii ka timaadeen ee faamiyadiinii ka timaadeen ee halkaa u timaadeen inaad nagala qayb gashaan maalintan aad iyo aad u qiimaha badan aad nagala qayb gashaan aad baa u mahadsantihiin. We recognize that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bashir wuxuu waxaad yar ka tidhaahdaa the role of development, the role of the diaspora in development. Waddankeennii capacity development, capacity building, waa waxaynu wada naqaano weeye. Marka laga bilaabo dee lacagta aynu maalinta soo dirayno shaqooyinka iyo bisiisyada waddankeenu ka furnay, runtii you can say without exaggeration, Somaliland ma jirteen diaspora la'aanteed. Marka anoo development ka hadlaya, I'm just gonna add the little code. Waxa la laba ninoo midna yahay African yahay midna Asian yahay, laakiin let's say Korean iyo Korean ayaa Maraykankooda yimaadeen oo economigooda qabteen. Dabeedna dib bay u noqdeen. Dabeedna waxa la ninkii Afrikaanka ahaa kii Asianka ba shaqo kala kusii ku noqday. saaxiibkiisaa meesha ugu tegey wuxuu arkay ninkii oo dhan guri weyn iyo baabuur wanaagsan iyo wanaagsan oo wax halka ka kashay. Because you see that road? He said, yes, it's beautiful. He said 10%. xogaa xaqla qalina baan saaray. waayahay muddaa ka soo wareegtay kii saaxiibkiis baa shaqo wasiir ku noqday. saaxiibkiisii waa waddankii Afrikaanka uu ku tegey wuxuu arkay ninkii oo magaalada badhiibsaday oo baabuurta iyo guryaha iyo waxa ku jira suuqyaha waa Maraykanka. Did you win the lottery or something? He said, you see that road? He said, I got the city road. He said, exactly 100%. The difference, if people ask you all the time, well, how Asia will develop, can I say, kind of how develop, in the 1950s iyo 60s iyo waxa la yaqaan way ka horeysa wadamo badan oo kala eego GDP-ga iyo waa ka horeysa qaar wadamo badan oo Asia. There is a reason. Marka su'aashaas waxa weydiinay maanta oo tuursayo gudoomiye Dr. Jamal Al-Hussein waxa Jamal waa arinta ay ku haysantahay arrinaan si kale wala garana uu sheegay laakiin si fiican uu sharaxay wuxuu yiri the difference waxa weeye wadamadan waddanka development ma ilaahay sida Mahathir oo kale Dr. Erdogan oo kale hopefully maybe Malaysia Anwar Ibrahim hadda waa ka qabsaday isaga I'm hoping we'll do the same thing. Ama strong will sameeyo oo waddanka will to develop ama education hasaar يعني vision كأولاد هاي قف strong about what the good guy he dragged it screen because a lot of times people don't see the vision. Mark, I want to say a few stories or development here, and I'm going to start with the oldest. Diaspora the first thing comes to mind to me was Amoud University. I remember 2000, you might be Kohorba.
Somaliland, Health Association. Ururkaas oo ah non-profit organization aanu bilownay markii uu bilaabmay COVID-19. runtii waxay waqti aad iyo aad xanuun badan dadweynaha intiisa badan maahayn nolol dhanba ka cabaadiyey dad badanna ay ku geeriyoodeen oo nolosha naftooda ku waayeen inaga oo ah wadan yar siinta caafimaadkeeduna aad iyo aad runtii أو استجيبوا طريق الصقاع عارفين ما ده هيصير حاجة أنا هير أي مريض أنا وده هذا هروب أنا جالس اثنين وحد فرحسن هاي جروب أو ميديكال تيم يعني شوية من COVID-19 ويمي وحنا سميناه وحنا خلصنا أنت أصلاً قصة مغنين تذكرني عن يوم بهالمين خاطر بنوغان هاي ICU شغالة خاطر بنوغان هاي هوسبيتالات هو وين مريكانكا شغالة حق ربنا مركان سكولي من حاولوا يدور رباطنا بدنا نروح على السيتويشن تدخل حاولوا يمشوا قدام تانا قلت له السيتويشن بدنا كيني أو أنا نهاي الأكسجين هوسبيتالات اللي خلصن قبلها أنا ومالتي دلعت مويا أنا وهيك كده يعملها هبقى بس هاتين مالين وحنا مسويين جروب أو رجال ساحة Somaliland American Health Association نسكن من هنا يكون أوف ولا خاتير health workers nurses respiratory ضد بدل سكوتنا وحنا بقى بقولي إن أنا فبرز صغير بحدد waxaan raadsanay inaan helo number of organization kale oo nacaawiya maasha Allah tabaaraka Allah Amuud Foundation ayaa waxay noo qolan qaadeen ay yiraahdeen haddii aad keentaan lacag caadi ah wax kastoo aad keentaan waan dib ma jireenayna si aan dadkii ku qabano bidixda gobol ee Somaliland waxaan raise gareynay ilaa 25,000 at that night أيام الشمس كنا من هذا الأولي حرورينا وحن يسكتون من هذا another 10 people مركزا وحن يروح أدي 25 أنا 25 من وقت رأي عمل foundation هم أشتريان حيث تأخذهم إمسا وسجيب بيني دكتي جاتين كتاب لحدي جوا ما الحرام رنتي مركز let's go and raise another 25 an hour and 50 أدينا الحمد لله that moment that night we were only 30 people markii waxaan raisgareynay konton people eedoor Amuud Foundation they matched for us waxaan sameeyay u helay chance in aan qorno gobol kasta lixda gobol ilaa 10 xabo oo oxygen waaweyn HC yala maraylaada waaweyn oo oxygen lagu qaado in aan gobol kasta gaarsiino lixda gobol ee Somaliland
أنا والله أقول ليس تو يقول لي حق أقول يذكر الله First let me give very special thanks to our friends who are here tonight with us. Masters Tibernash, Pierre Farm, and our friend Pierre Otosi. These gentlemen, there are many other friends we have in Somaliland here, but these gentlemen are really the foreguard. They are committed, tireless friends of Somaliland. And despite the actually the campaign that our adversaries trolls have on them on Twitter and the way they attack them, but still they continue to support Somaliland and they never get tired and they know. When I talk to them and I listen to them, they give me the conviction that Somaliland's recognition is a matter of when and not if. That's what they really think. And Somaliland recognition is a matter of when. Just join me in saying a very big thanks to them, all of them, please. I have also to recognize here tonight my friend Jonathan Starr. Is there? Can you stand up, Jonathan? Jonathan Starr deserves a big medal and citizenship from Somaliland. Jonathan Starr is founder. Jonathan Starr is the founder of Abarso School and later Lagu University. And you can see the fruits of Abarso. Dalka was here, Amal is with him, and these are the future leaders of Somaliland. Thank you. Let me switch to Somali now, Somali language. Lagu Yamale, Lagu Yawaye, and City Islam Awa, Golahan Uso Pishen, Iduko Hiso, Yido Uso Kaba, in a good band extend 18 May, or I said that Guurada of your Sodona, Ella Sodo Shada and River Somalia, and the other city. Members of the Captain, the members of the proportion. waxaan salaan ugu horreyn idinka sidaa iyo bogaadin madaxweynaha Somaliland mudane Muuse Biixi Cabdi oo idinku soo salaamaya munaasabada 18 May. waxaa isweydiin leh oo u baahan reflection lagu sameeyo maxaan ugu dabaaldegaynaa 18 May. dad badan baa isweydiiya 18 May maxaan ugu dabaaldegaynaa maanta oo kale 12 sano horteed ayay dadkeenu jid cusub jeexeen taariikh cusub dhigeen dhibaato iyo hoog iyo barabbar badan oo la soo maray intay kulmeeyeen isma taageen ayay yidhaahdeen dhinaca u dhaqaaqnaa markaas yidhahdeen dhinaca u dhaqaaqnaa waxa weeye qarannimadii Somaliland la soo dhaqanno nabad dhalino nabad ku noolaano dad walaalaano sidaas ayay 18 May ku noqotay waxaan eegtaa had iyo jeer waxa wanaagsan had iyo jeer markaad eegayso inaad wax kale ku kombeerayso contrast inaad ku samayso war waxaad eegtaa maalinta alternative ku noqonaya haddii aanay sidaa yeelin nabadii la soo noqon xuduudaheedii sugin 12 sannadood waa markaa horumar aynaan lacagta jidka saarin wuxuu noqon lahaa alternative wuxuu noqon lahaa way noo muuqataa waxa weeye waxaa leeyahay ayuu alternative noqon lahaa taas bay dhab ahaantii inaga badbaadisay 18 May. maalintaan laga soo bilaabay waxay ground zero oo la garanaysa ground zero maanta waxaad arkaysaa dhismaha dalka horumarka iyo technology dalkeena ku maray dabcan wax badan weynaga dhiman hibaladeena maynaan gaadhin halkan doonaynay waayo hibalo walba iyo barnaamij walba halkiisa laga wada gaari karo mar walba waxbaa ka dhiman adduunkaynu kala mid nahay laakiin waxaan gaadhay meel aad iyo aad fiican oo gaar ahaan ay keeneen dadka Somaliland oo ah private sector-ka laakiin haddii aanay nabad jirin oo aanay dowladdu nabadda sugin oo aanay salkii lagu fadhiisanayay u waageerin horumarkaasi ma yimaadeen taasina waxaa ammaanteeda leh oo had iyo jeer inaynu bogaadi siino oo abaal u hayno ay tahay ciidamada qaranka ee Somaliland. wixii naga khadamay waa casharo aan baranayno waa casharada taariikhda oo loo baahan yahay inaynu saaxno si xina doono laakiin waxa mid kastoo inaga mida looga baahan yahay in halkiisa ka soo baxo hawlkarnimo iyo filaan la yimaado taas baa markaa keenaysa inaynu institutions dhisano dowladnimada inoo hagaagto oo aan kaga baxno reernimada dowladnimada imanaysa laakiin qofka arkaya wanaagga ay maanta aynu samaysanay iyaan ku taagaya qofka arkaya ay arki waaya jaamacadaha dhalinyarada iyo carruurta iskuullada iyo jaamacadaha ku dareeraya arki waaya quruxda magaalooyinka iyo burburkii laga soo baxay qofka ay u muuqan weydo haybadda dowladnimo ee dadkeenu qarsanayo qofka intaasoo dhan arki waaya anigu garan maayo wax kastoo kaloo lagu tilmaamo waxa la odhan karaa malaha waa qof dhan fayoobay waxaa jira shicir carbeed oo yidhaahdaa قد تنكر العين ضوء شمس من رمدي وينكر فن دعوة الله من السقر قصيدة إلى بلده المتحدة بعد ذلك وقفك بقرة قبا إنه قرح للمكين لكن قفك أحمد درسة بدنا مكمل يعني إلى بيان اللي بكرنا عمو كما قال إلى جانب لكن وقفك يعني أركي وحلا بسيء لكن ما تلا برا وقفت على صوت عليه أبوي dadkeena waxaa lagu amray khubarada adduunka ku amray oo abaasuurada halkay ka mid yihiin maanta ay ka mid yihiin oo ka qoreen inay yihiin dad isku tashaday waxay sheegaysay deeqa inaan tegay jaamacadda Chicago oo aan ka jeediyay lecture Somaliland ku saabsan lin professorada halkaa jooga ka mid ah oo iskuulka ay deeqa ku jirteen maanta diinka ah oo yidhaahdo John James Robinson oo aan ninkii qoray ku galmanaado Why Nations Fail ayaa wuxuu ku yidhi course baan ka dhigaa halkan oo ardayda u dhigaa course-kaas oo ah Somaliland sida ay tahay maanta iyo sida uga maaragtay kaalmo shisheeye iyadoo isku kalsoonaatay
Disclaimer, I want to say that tonight I'm speaking to you as a candidate for Fairfax County School Board. I'm a federal employee, and I want to disclaimer that I am running for the school board, so I'm not speaking for the government official. Let me start a few remarks. I want to welcome, as my friends previously mentioned, of course, Somaliland Mission, Representatives Bashir Gold, Yasin Mira, Ambassador Tigo Nagy, Ambassador Peter Fan, our friend Jonathan Starr, founder of Abarso. I want to make clear, Abarso School not only trains Somaliland students, they train all Horn of Africa, and Somalis students come from everywhere because of the production, the environment, the peace that Somaliland achieve. So the students go to Abarso, they come from everywhere from Somalia. So I want to make sure of that because there's a lot of Abarso alumni that around the world that speak for Somaliland because of Abarso. So I want to make sure for that disclaimer. Also, I want to recognize Dr. Usman Ahmed, whom I really respect a lot. When I came here many years ago, when I had hair, and he's one of those individuals I used to look up to him and say, I want to be like him one day. So Usman, thank you for my fellow mentor. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, families, I want to talk about 3W today. Who am I, why I'm here, and why I'm running. Okay. My name is Ahmed, I said. I came here early 80s and went high school last 2 years in Cairo and came here to go to school, undergraduate and graduate school, and I joined federal service and working for the federal government for the last 23 years and hopefully looking for retirement for 2 more years. So that's who am I. My family is a foreign service and my wife covers medical staff for the U.S. employee overseas. We have been 5 different countries and managing the health and well-being for the U.S. missions overseas, and I was the part of the family there. So we moved back to Virginia, Fairfax, last July, as my family got assigned here. And when my 2 boys, grade 9 and grade 7, went to Fairfax County Public School, and I started attending the PTAs, Parent Teachers Association meetings, and involved in education, I find out the county that I moved a number of years ago is different than the county that I'm dealing right now with. As you know, the school board is non-partisan. There's no Republican, no Democrat. However, as we know that now we are living in this environment, so politicians have involved all the schools. So when you become a board, someone from the Congress side whispers to your ears. So the focus of our school board has changed a lot. If you follow what's happening in our communities and our children are dealing with is something that really we all need to stand up and say, we need to be involved. We can't watch from the side, we have to be involved. Tonight, everybody talk about Somaliland, how we help them, but someone has to involve our children here and speak for them. So I want to be your voice to go to the table and challenge these issues. What's the issues? For example, we live in Fairfax County. Fairfax County has been always top counties in the nation, economically, education, and also safety-wise. I moved in a number of years ago and I voted that. Today, county budget is $5.3 billion. That's our taxpayers who live in Fairfax County. 5.3 billion would be. Our school budget is this year 3.3 billion. Almost about 55% of our budget go to schools. We have in the county a lot of schools. And the population of the county is 1.4 million. That's the county population. We have that amount of money going to schools. And there's a lot of challenges. So some of the challenges is not a budget issue, it's the policy issue. Our friends, the Congress here, the former ambassadors can tell you the policy driven from the top. And affecting Fairfax County schools are 181,000 students. And we have 222 schools. If you divide that much money, we as taxpayers, $18,380 per child. So there's a significant amount of money going to the schools. So 18,000 plus go to each child, and our tax going that. The school do test results. For example, we know about SAT, and we push our children SAT. Fairfax County was good. For the last 5 years, our SAT, when I say our Fairfax County SATs, has been going down, 27%. In surrounding community, I will just mention a few of them, Montgomery County, Loudoun County, their numbers are going up. The current county board was asked, what's happening that our score is going down? The board said, quote unquote, it's coronavirus, COVID. We know that's not true because mid-Virginia, 13% score went up, Montgomery County, 13% went up, where we're going down 27%. You figure out the magic. So the board has been focusing something else other than education. And we watch TV, CNN, NBC, Fox News. There's so much thing happening that probably your value, my value, don't support. While we are focusing Somaliland, all of us, I want to focus on our kids here so we can be able to at least have the children educated, safe, and our taxpayers also, as a taxpayer, to spend our dollars wisely. 3.3 billion is not money. It's more than African countries' budgets. So in Fairfax County, there's 12 school board members, 9 at large, 9 of the districts, and 3 at large. So tonight I'm letting you know, I'm running one of the at large, one of those seats. And the election is in November. As I mentioned, I am not running for Democratic, Republic, because one reason. The reason is because I'm a federal employee based on Hatch Act. I have to stay in the middle and have to fight for you guys and for our children to make sure they educate properly and provide the appropriate academic environment that we're looking for. So tonight I'm here to ask you, if you are Fairfax County resident, no matter where you live in the county, November 7, I ask for your vote. I also ask your contribution and support. If you are not the county resident, in the metropolitan area, DC, outside, my website is HusseinForSchoolBoard.com. I look for your support.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. جيت جيب وترامنتين مرتدى نوجوتك يا جماعة تالي ناجي أو مزرتاي ناجي أو نيكا لبعضها وزارة أنا دبدا مريكانكا بيتر فام ومدرب إن السعودية أمباسدور لجين كتايوان Miss Wang, Mr. Su, or our political director, Taiwan Embassy, EPL, or in Elisha, one of the major supporters for the Congress behind the lines of the Elisha, all of you, we really do thank you. We know what you have done. You have been with us through thick and thin, based on principle, and we will not forget you. Hambalyo, hambalyo, hambalyo. Wow! L'avete sottocesso in mano, l'avete sotto il sarò, o è caputo. horumar nabad ma'amu wanaag oo maanta aynu kaga muuqanno regionka geeska Afrika aynu ka muuqanno tiyoo ana cidina waxba inagu tarin tiyoo dhibaatooyin fara badan inala soo gudboonaadeen haddana aynu hore u soconno aynu inagu isku tiirsanno shaqadaasi iskama iman waa mucjiso weeye Somaliland mucjisadaasi kama iman muune waxaa dhisay oo keenay dadka Somaliland ay ku jiraan inta halka joogto oo Bashiir ambassador Bashiir Ogeeyo oo intii halka joogay wax badan soo qabsoomeen isagana waan bogaadinaynaa halkaana ka sii wey Bashiiro Somalilandriskii nin walba dhinaciisa iyo gabadh waliba dhinaceega ay isku xil saareen ee shalay u dambeysay Congress-ka la joogay arrintan u dambeysay horta waa arrin laga hormaado waa dadkeeni waxaa dhimanaya waa dadkeeni dhinac walba dhiiggaa daadanaya aad iyo aad baan uga xunahay waa dad walaa waa dad 150 sano wax ka badan meel wada deganaa oo isdalay in shaytaanku soo kala dhexgelay dadka soo kala dhex galaan oo maanta dagaal sidaasoo adag u socdo waa unfortunate waxaan leeyahay cidina dagaal ma macno walaalayaal aynu isdayn aynu wada hadalno wixiina aynu dhamaysano Somaliland si maaha meel kala jarjari kara maanta ma ogolaan karto morality iyo hayaan intaasay soo dhisayeen 30 sano in imika dad aan meeshaba joogo oo dibadda ka imanaya ay qabiilaystaan oo yidhaahdaan waa aynu soo jara oo dad masaakiina dhalinyar inta la soo kaxeeyo yaa gaysa ku dhuwanaysa halkaa oo dhulkii kale laga soo saaray taasi intaasaan ku daynaya international community-ga dhowr shay baan leeyahay inta af ingiriis baan u wareegayaa si dhaqso ah I'm going to switch it to English for a little bit for a message to the international community. Despite all the problems in Somaliland, and there are many, despite the lack of assistance or support from the international community. Somaliland remains the most peaceful, the most democratic, the best governance system, an economy that's doing relatively well, based purely on private sector. Yet, for whatever reason, and it doesn't make much sense to me, we are being tied, our fate is being tied to people who cannot even put their house in order. There has been hundreds of billions, I don't know the exact number, but it could be close to that. Billions each year for over 30 years, billions. Certainly much more than 40 or 50. Nothing much has been given to Somalia. And what is passed through Somalia for the benefit of the Somali people disappears there. You know, I used to be a donor myself, working with the World Bank and other agencies. When we give something to a government, that is for that government, it's not meant for that government, but for the people in that country. So what was given to Mogadishu was for the Somali people, whether they are in Somaliland or Somalia. But nothing comes here, very little comes here. At the end of the day, a place that's guarding the Western interests in particular, and I'm glad our friends from Taiwan are here. Strategic, tremendous resources, and everything we need. Just recognize us. Take this, abeyance for decades. Do we have to wait another 10 years, 20 years? I mean, we already recognized ourselves. That's why we are doing what we are doing. And we have alternatives. Recognition is overdue, and it only makes sense, and it is for the benefit of our international partners. If Somaliland falters, the whole region will blow up, and that's an understatement. I think I have probably passed my time. Walaalayaal, aynu halkaa ka sii wadno.
Okay, iminka I'm welcoming Petro A. Tosi, Staff Director, Commissioner, Congressional Executive Commission on China.
Salam alaikum. And happy May 18th. As was mentioned, I work on Capitol Hill with the Congressional Executive Commission on China, and I focus on the issue of human rights in China, but also Africa as well. And Somaliland, which we just heard about the need for international recognition, which is very important. I visited your country, and I call it a country, a nation, in December of 2021. And when I was there, I also had a chance to meet with some of the countries that are represented there. And among that was a delegation from Taiwan, the Republic of China. Today we have here guests from the TECRO office, the representative office of Taiwan, the Republic of China here. And why is this important? It's important because there are shared democratic values which the people of Taiwan and the people of Somaliland have in a part of the world where there is not much democracy and there's not much respect for human rights. And while we know the situation is not perfect, when you compare everything, you see the progress that Somaliland has made. Unfortunately, and because I focus on China, we know that there is a lot of interest in China in the whole region. We know that the president of Eritrea was just in China, and we know that last year, Wang Yi, the foreign minister of China, went and visited Eritrea. Already in Djibouti, there is a Chinese base. And then he went to Kenya, to Mombasa, to visit the ports there. Alone is Berbera. It's a jewel right there, a very precious resource. But we know that a lot of the difficulties that we see right now, we know that is, I believe, is because there is a pernicious Chinese influence there, and they're trying to disrupt the peace that you have and the prosperity that you have in Somaliland. It's very important that you recommit yourselves to elections and democracy, because it is important that Somaliland stands for human rights, for democracy, for free and fair elections, in contrast with the many countries. And it's important that you maintain your friendship with the people of Taiwan, which also is a beleaguered democracy that does face many of the same threats. So, in conclusion, I want to congratulate you again for your holiday for May 18th, and congratulate you for the progress that you have made. And we look forward to many more years ahead, and with the hope that one day there will be recognition of the nation of Somaliland. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Lagu. I am welcoming Ambassador Tibor Neri, former Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs of the United States and Professor in Portland, Texas, Theological University.
Assalamualaikum. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors, I think that covers everybody, and Ambassador Bashir. I have to say something about Ambassador Bashir. You, as a community, are so lucky to have him. When I was Assistant Secretary of State, I knew all of the ambassadors from Africa. And I have to tell you that he is the hardest working. He represents his community better than anybody else. So, Mr. Ambassador, congratulations. I have to tell you a little story about Somaliland. When I was U.S. Ambassador to Ethiopia, 1999, I had never heard of Somaliland. Can you imagine, I'm ambassador to Ethiopia, I don't know that Somaliland exists. And then I met a wonderful, wonderful gentleman named President Gaar. President Gaar. And he educated me on this little country, which is right next to Ethiopia, which on its own moved forward, received no assistance, but was thriving. And then September 11th, 2001 happened, the terrorist attacks in New York. And President Gaar came to see me again, and he said, Ambassador Naj, will the United States cooperate with us in Somaliland? We can fight terrorism together. So I checked with Washington. And I was so sorry to have to tell President Gaar, Mr. President, because Somaliland does not have a terrorism problem, we don't work with it. Can you imagine? Absolutely crazy. And he said, you mean if we had a terrorism problem, then America would help us? I said, yes. That's how crazy politics has been. Well, I retired in 2003. And I did more research on Somaliland, and I taught about Africa, and I told my students about Somaliland, but I had never, ever been to Somaliland until last year. And then Ambassador Bashir made it possible for me to visit. And I have to tell you, everything I read, everything I thought, it was wrong, because Somaliland was so much better than anything I expected. I have to tell you, my first impression in the I'm Hungarian. I came here as a political refugee like many of you, but in the United States, my home is Texas. Any of you from West Texas? Anybody been to Texas? Bless you, yeah. Okay, any of you know West Texas? Lubbock, Amarillo, okay, that's, all right, so you can imagine landing in Hargeisa on Ethiopian Airlines. I look out the window and it looks like West Texas. And I get off the airplane and the wind is blowing just like West Texas. So I said to Ambassador Bashir, I know I will like this place because it reminds me of home. Now, I have to tell you, the biggest thing that I learned, and you have my absolute respect, it's one thing more than anything else, is self-reliance. I have never in my life seen a country, a nation, as Piero said, that has so much self-reliance. One of the first days we were there, we went to see the Waxa market. Horrible. Any assistance from the United States? No. No assistance really from countries, but you, the Somaliland community, paid incredible amounts of money to help Waxa market. So thank you and God bless you for what you are doing. Then Piero mentioned Berbera. Oh my gosh, Berbera, dynamic. It is, I call, a regional game changer. It will be one of the key cities in the region. And you know what else? The mayor of Berbera, young man, dynamic. He could be a mayor in any city in the world. He is so good. And he's there in Berbera. So then another thing, your educational institutions. We visited Hargeisa, University of Hargeisa. We visited Gabile Library, and then we visited the University of Ahaan. And Somaliland is doing it right. The people are young, and you know the value of education. I wish other countries could get that. But you know what else we saw in Ahaan? The mayor of Ahaan and the governor are from two different political parties. One is the ruling party, the other is from the opposition. And they get along great. They work together for the benefit of Ahaan. I wish politicians in the United States of America could cooperate like that. So, thank you very much. And then we stopped and we saw Lagu. You know, often people do not appreciate their own treasures. I tell you, the treasures you have in Lagu are unique in the world. And that could be a huge, huge tourist destination and attraction. So it is a riches that many people in Somaliland do not even recognize. And then the biggest thrill I had, I finally got to eat a camel steak. Ambassador Hotel, Hargeisa. How many of you like camel? You can be truthful. All right, I'm with you now. Okay? And I wish that Whole Foods had camel steak here. Maybe we can do something about that. Now, so I left Somaliland the biggest supporter and booster that you can imagine. You know, the country is going to succeed. The country is going to succeed. I call it the little country that can, and it really, really is going to succeed. I like proverbs in Africa, and here's a proverb I will leave with. The road to success is always under construction. The road to success is always under construction. Somaliland builds the road better than anybody else. your country is going to be a huge success, and I know that your country will be recognized by the world. God bless you and your families, and God bless Somaliland.
Okay, immigrant now welcoming Ambassador Chet Peters from, please.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a real privilege to be with you this evening to share the celebration of the 32nd anniversary of Somaliland's reclaiming the independence that it had before and always had. Ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen, friends, I've long, as many of you know, tried to make a case for Somaliland's recognition, as Dr. Osman raised the point earlier, the importance of that recognition, the righteousness of that recognition. And one can make the case in various ways. And I won't belabor it, but there's certainly a legal case to be made. Somaliland received its independence from the United Kingdom by an exchange of letters presented to Parliament by command of Her Majesty the late Queen. Recognition was extended on that 26th of June 1960 by a number of countries, including the United States, via letter by then Secretary of State Christian Herbert. And interestingly enough, as many of you know history, even the courts of the Union with Somalia Italiana recognized the nullity of the Union when in 1963, Justice Hazelwood, sitting in Mogadishu, acquitted Hassan Kai and his fellow indictees for the attempted coup on the basis that they couldn't be tried for treason against a union that was invalid from the start, and they were free. So the legal case Naj spoke about that Somaliland has had since 1991, there's a moral case to be made. There's, of course, the political case that can be made when it's in the interest of the international community to encourage state building in Africa amidst a crisis of state legitimacy. Somaliland presents a wonderful example. And if we're talking politics, the impossibility of putting Humpty Dumpty back together again. It's not going to happen. Let's be realistic. But as an American, I think we also have some key interests. A strategic case to be made. The security that Somaliland provides gratis to the international community and to the region, because it doesn't get the support it needs on the security front, but does it anyway. And also the aligned interests. My friend Piero spoke earlier about Somaliland's relationship with another democracy unrecognized on the other side of the world, the Republic of China on Taiwan. So in an era of geopolitical competition, the aligned interests provide a case. So legal, moral, political, and strategic reasons that I think altogether add to, despite perhaps some despair, despite some frustration, I think that the recognition that Dr. Osman spoke about earlier, the need for, the case for, I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And that's not wishful thinking. I think it's the reality based on these things. So I want to leave you with just 6 points as we wait for that day that we all hope to see, Somaliland's recognition of the family of nations, the recognition for what has been achieved, the recognition that's come in all sorts of other spheres, including the great news this week, my dear friend, Dr. Edna Ahaan, received the Templeton Prize this year. All that great news. And so with apologies for mangling it, I'd like to borrow 6 proverbs from the collection that I inherited from my old teacher, Ian Lewis. And I think this is my advice to Somaliland as a friend of many years. First proverb I'd leave you with. Ilku wadajir baywak kuguyan. Teeth bite something only when they bite together. Maintain the progress, especially on good governance, democratization, elections, and unity, because that's your strength. Second proverb, Professor Lewis. Abu Ningala Wala Arka Ningudasi Lama Arak. Those who accept a favor have been seen, but those who pay back are none. Be transactional. When you do things for the international community, my advice, and I've given this advice, and Ambassador Bashir knows, get something in return. Don't wait for gratitude. So, thank you for your attention. Thank you for this privilege of being with you, not only this night, but throughout this long path, and may that day that we all hope for come sooner rather than later. Thank you.